Thank you, Speaker, and congratulations on your election. Looking forward to working alongside you this year. And I also wanted to join you in paying tribute to Councillor Jack Pashood. Jack, you've been an excellent Speaker and a fantastic ambassador for our borough. And I'd like to thank you for all the work that you've put in over the last couple of years. This AGM is an AGM like no other, and it was unimaginable just a few months ago. And there's a lot of people who worked very hard to make sure that we could meet remotely. So I'd like to thank all of them, and particularly all those IT people who have helping us through virtual meetings over the past few months. I want to join you, Speaker, in adding my condolences, not just on my behalf, but on behalf of everyone at the Council, and our thoughts are with all of the 260 Lewisham residents who have sadly died due to coronavirus. And we know, of course, that many more have been ill with the virus, and our thoughts are with all of their friends and all of the families of people who have lost loved ones. We're in unprecedented times, and there is much uncertainty ahead. The last 4 months have been ones of anxiety and tragedy, but they've also been ones of heroism and hope. And we've seen our community here in Lewisham come together like we've never seen it come together before. And I'm hugely proud of the way that our council has responded to this crisis. And I'm proud that this is in large part due to the hard work of volunteers. It's no surprise to me that the first mutual aid groups that sprung up in London sprung up here in Lewisham. When I set up a Just Giving account to raise money for one of our local food banks, local residents came forward and donated £128,000. And it is thanks to our volunteers that we've been able to get food and medicine to any of our 10,000 shielded residents who've needed help. In many ways, you can describe this year as the year of the volunteer, and to highlight the incredible role that volunteers continue to play, I've appointed not just one, but 3 mayoresses this year: Natasha Ricketts, Dawn Atkinson and Christina Norman. Now they've got big shoes to fill, and we're going to hear from Barbara Gray later on. But over next year, we'll get to know Natasha, Dawn and Christina really well, 3 incredible women who run the Evening Community Food Store in Deptford, a food project that has supported hundreds of families in need. And I want to say to all of the volunteers in our borough and those who have given so much, particularly these last few months, thank you. But we have an even more challenging time ahead of us. We're facing now the harsh reality of a much reduced council budget, and the bills are not all in yet. We know that there are Lewisham residents who've already lost their jobs, lost their income. We know businesses that have closed. When you look at us as a council, when you add our lost income together with the additional costs that we have due to COVID, the cost of COVID for Lewisham Council is already standing at £53 million. At the beginning of lockdown, I was on a call with the Secretary of State, and the message given to council leaders like myself was that the government would do whatever is necessary to support the work of councils in protecting the most vulnerable. And we did it, and we did it well, not just protecting residents, but also keeping the basics going, emptying every bin, keeping our streets swept and making sure our parks stayed open. But now the government is threatening to backtrack on that pledge that they made to us. And instead of talking about meeting everything that we need, now they're talking about, and I'm quoting, councils sharing the burden, a barely coded signal that further cuts are expected. And after a decade of austerity, what could be a more shameful betrayal by this government than to cut the jobs of the very frontline workers who are saving lives today? But that is the reality, and that is why Lewisham will be joining councils up and down this country in calling for government to keep the promises that they made to us. This massive change in our budget will undoubtedly have an impact on the work that we do too. And I'll be working with councillors to renew our priorities in the months ahead as we look closely at our corporate strategy. There will, for me, be some non-negotiables, including our council house building programme and our refugee resettlement scheme. And there'll be new commitments that we want to make as well. The COVID crisis has held up a mirror to society, and it has reflected back the deep inequalities which we know exist in our country. It has reminded us too of the injustices that impact the lives of too many children and too many young people. And it's also thrown a harsh light on the fragility of our economy and the insecurity that so many of us face. But it's also given us a renewed appreciation for the importance of our environment, our parks and our green spaces, for our local neighbourhoods and the shops and businesses that keep them going, and also for our human relationships, our relationships with family, with friends, with community, the things that really matter the most in life. And amid the huge challenges that we face, we also have an opportunity to build a more equal society. But to build a more equal society, we also have to be honest about the people who are being left behind. The impact of COVID on some of our BAME communities has been truly shocking. Our Black residents are not just more likely to catch COVID, they're more likely to die from it too. And it exposes once again the persistent racial inequalities that people of colour face. And that is not just in healthcare, it's in education, in housing, in the criminal justice system. It's the pay you get at work and how likely you are to succeed in your career. Racial inequality permeates across all walks of society. The Black Lives Matter movement offers both a glimmer of hope and a chance for each of us to renew our commitment to rooting out racism wherever it lurks. One issue that I want to continue to focus on is on the issue of drug reform, and I will continue to work with others to press for an evidence-based system, one which treats drug use as a public health and not a criminal justice issue. And this is important in Lewisham. Our youth offending service is doing an excellent job. It's picking up recognition from right across the country. But I was shocked when I learnt last year that 49 Lewisham children, that's nearly a child every single week, was sent to our youth offending service for first-time drug offences. Now, of those 49 children, how many do you think were children of colour? It's 43. 43 of 49. And furthermore, every single child in Lewisham who received a custodial sentence from the courts last year was a child of colour. The majority of those Lewisham children were sent to our youth offending service, were sent there because of involvement with cannabis, and often found with a very small amount. A drug now legal in many parts of the world where public health approaches are being advanced. They're not the ones running the gangs. In Lewisham, you are 3 times more likely to be stopped and searched if you're black than if you're white. And 3/4 of the time, regardless of who you are, the police will find nothing on you. Our drug laws are racist. They criminalise young black men while giving criminal gangs the power to exploit vulnerable young people. And I'll do all I can to challenge and to reform them. And racial inequality stretches deep into our country's education system too. In Lewisham, we're making progress. But as across the country, the biggest determinant of how well a child will do at school is your family's income. And when you overlay that with ethnicity, it leads to a situation in Lewisham where only 1 in 4 of our Black Caribbean children got 5 good GCSEs, including English and maths. Good local schools with heads and teachers that share our determination, our ambition to reduce inequalities are critical to Lewisham's future success. And too many parents have told me that as their children start to approach secondary school, they start to feel that maybe they need to move out of the borough or get ready to fight for a place outside of Lewisham. We need to convince them that there is a better choice, and we will judge success by a simple metric: more families making a Lewisham secondary school a choice for their children. Now, today we're currently supporting our schools get ready for September, and I want to pay tribute to our teachers who have led a superhuman effort and have worked so very hard through these difficult times. Our schools have been open during lockdown for key worker and vulnerable children, including during the school holidays. But there is no doubt that far too many young people have been out of the classroom for far too long. And so we will support our schools as they prepare to welcome all children back in September. One of the positives that we've seen from lockdown was that almost instantly air quality improved as our streets were less choked by car fumes. And I don't want, and I'm sure none of you want us to go back to the way things were. And being green, it's not just about responding to the climate emergency, it also tackles health inequalities too. It's the poorest in Lewisham who are least likely to own a car, yet most likely to live in areas with toxic air. We must and we will make some difficult decisions. We must step up Lewisham's move away from cars, and we must and we will prioritise walking, cycling and public transport. Our parks, they've been a real lifeline during lockdown, especially for people like me who don't have a garden. But we shouldn't accept that the tranquility found in our parks should lie exclusively behind their fences or in private gardens. And yes, we're a dense borough, we've got over 300,000 people, but we also need to step up our efforts to be a more beautiful borough too, with safer streets centred around people and play, not the car-dominated landscapes that our children see outside their windows. So we will continue to charge those who drive the most toxic vehicles more to do so. We will continue to, working with residents, roll out our Healthy Neighbourhood programme, when we will close more streets around our schools. We will redouble our work with TfL to support the Bakerloo line coming to Lewisham, more segregated cycle routes and to improve public transport in our borough too. And I want to take this moment on behalf of all of us to thank Sadiq Khan for all of the support, all of the new funding that he has awarded Lewisham so that we can begin to realise our ambitions. Lockdown has also meant that we're travelling less, and so we're exploring what's on our doorstep. I've enjoyed showing my partner Yossi around all the different neighbourhoods that make up Lewisham. I create little tours at home and then we'll go out for a few hours and I get to see Lewisham through his eyes. And we love the fact that Lewisham is home to so many independent business, amongst the highest in London, I'm always reminding him. And you'll have heard me say before that I'm proud that we're a Pret-free borough, and genuinely, I'm so thankful that so many of those bland and sterile high street chains that I think make up too much of the capital have largely passed us by. Instead, in Lewisham, we've got shops and family-run businesses and restaurants with products and food from all around the world that reflect Lewisham's history of migration. Independent businesses with both local and global roots, and they don't just make Lewisham a more vibrant and fun place to live, they're good for our local economy too. But competition is fierce, and we've got to do all we can to support our small businesses, especially as they face a recession. All too quickly and all too quietly, we could start to lose these businesses. And before we'll all know it, our high streets will start to look and feel very different. So on top of the work that we're already doing to support businesses, I've asked officers to undertake a new annual survey of our high streets, going out every year to count and publish the number of independent retailers and the number of Black and BAME-owned businesses on Lewisham's high streets too. And I've asked that this survey runs alongside our new local plan, which itself runs until 2040. And that's because I want the results to not just help inform my decisions and the decisions of councillors today, but to inform the decision of future mayors and future councillors too. And hopefully it's a signal to small businesses that they'll always be welcome here in Lewisham. Now, as I come towards the end of my speech, I want you to think about what makes a good place to live? What do you think about? Because over the coming months, we need to draw on our experiences that we've shared during lockdown to think about Lewisham's next decade. And when we think about what a good place to live, there's lots of things that will spring to mind. But one thing it'd be all too easy to forget about is culture. Yet it's one example where during lockdown, many of us have realised just how important the arts and culture is to our well-being and to our sense of understanding about life and about the world around us. In 2022 may seem a way off, but we're already working hard to prepare for one of the biggest years in Lewisham's history. And what a celebration it will be. Winning London Borough of Culture is not just an accolade that we should be proud of. It is a watershed moment in how the rest of London sees Lewisham and how we feel, and particularly how our young people feel, about where they live. And so we will use this as an opportunity to make sure that all Lewisham residents have cultural opportunities in their neighbourhoods, and we'll make sure that Borough of Culture programme reaches every corner of our borough and reflects Lewisham's wonderfully diverse community. Now, finally, I'm coming to the part of the speech where I hand over to our outgoing Mayoress, and I would like to formally, Speaker, record my thanks to Barbara Gray. I'd like to thank you, Barbara, for the positive way in which you have worked with us, in which you've given advice to myself and to councillors, and the way you've challenged us too. Thank you for agreeing to continue as my advisor on BAME health inequalities, and I'm glad that we'll be working together for another year, and your efforts are reflected in the work now being taken forward in Lewisham. I'm delighted that alongside Birmingham, Lewisham will be leading new national work studying health inequalities among Black, African and Caribbean residents. Barbara has been an amazing role model for our borough, in and out of our schools, inspiring our young people, and we are genuinely and truly blessed to have such a powerful champion and friend as you are. And just before we hear from Barbara, I want to close my speech tonight by thanking my colleagues, councillors, cabinet members, officers of the council for all your hard work and all your support in this truly extraordinary and truly challenging year. Thank you.